All right, we've got one more skill to go over here, and that's to solve a system of equations. And these are all systems of equations where you'll need to solve a quadratic in order to get the solution. So in this first example, we have a parabola, essentially. If you were to graph this, you would get a parabola, right? So actually, let me just draw a random parabola. So we have a parabola, and then this second equation is a line. So essentially what we're trying to do is figure out where the line intersects the parabola. And so that if we find x and y values that satisfy both of these equations, right? Those are the points they have in common, and so that'll give those points of intersection. All right. Now, in order to solve this, we can do a substitution, or we have y on both sides. So if y is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 5, and we're also trying to find a value of x where y is equal to 5 minus x, then we can just set these things into equal to each other. So we can just say 5 minus x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 5, right? We're just taking this as the value of y and substituting it in here. All right, so now we just need to rearrange this and solve it. All right, now we can see we have an x squared, so it's going to be a quadratic. I like the coefficient of x squared to be positive, so I'm going to move everything over to the right-hand side. So I have an x squared, and then I'm going to add x to both sides, right? So this becomes a minus 5x, right? Just adding x to both sides. That makes this minus x go away. And then I'm also going to subtract 5 from both sides. So if I subtract 5 from both sides, then this will go away, right? If I subtract 5 from 5, I get 0. All right, well, that doesn't seem too bad. I can now just factor out an x, right? And that's equal to 0, and then use the zero product property. So x is equal to either 0 or a 5. All right. Now, when I'm trying to find both x and y values that satisfy these two equations, all right? So I have x, but if I'm trying to find where this line intersects the parabola, right, I want both the x and y coordinates. And so I need to find the corresponding y values. And I can take those two values and plug them into either one of these equations. It shouldn't matter which, they should give you the same y value. The easiest one is just to use the second one, right? Take x minus, or 5 minus x, and then get y. So for x equals 0, then y would be 5 minus 0 equals 5, right? If I let x equal 5, then y is equal to 5 minus 5, which is 0. Right, so my points, if I want the x and y values, my points are 0, 5, right? That's the coordinate pair, the xy coordinate pair. Or I have 5, 0, right? That's my other coordinate pair. So those are the points where that line would intersect the parabola. All right, so all right, let's look at the next one. The next one, you may recognize this as the equation for a circle centered at 0, right? So this is the equation for a circle of radius 5, right? Because this is the general form of a circle centered at the origin is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And so this is just a circle of radius 5 centered at the origin. So I could show the coordinate. So the center of the circle is at the origin, and this would intersect at 5 and 5. And then this y equals x minus 1 is a line with a slope of 1 that intersects at -1. So it's just a line that looks something like that. And what we're trying to do is find where that line intersects the circle. And it should intersect at 2 points. So we should get 2 solutions. And again, we can do a substitution. right? Because we have y, right? This is y, and if we plug that in for y, right, because we're trying to find the points that satisfy both equations. So if we make a little substitution, then we get x squared plus x minus 1 squared equals 25. Okay, so we can solve that, right? Let's expand the x minus 1 squared first. So that's going to give you x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 25. Can combine like terms and we'll end up with 2x squared minus 2x plus 1. Well, let's actually do something else. Let's actually subtract 25 from both sides as well, right? And then we'll get minus 24 equals 0, right? So now I'm seeing a common factor of 2, and it's always easier to work with smaller numbers, so I'm going to factor out a 2. Minus x, and then minus 12 equals 0. So that'll be easier to factor. And also because it has a leading coefficient of 1, so I just need to find factors of negative 12 that add to negative 1. So if I take negative 4 and positive 3, that should work, right? So x minus 4 times x plus 3 equals 0. Now I can always check myself, right? Negative 4 times negative 3, that gives me the 12. And if I take negative 4x plus positive 3x, then I'll get the negative x. All right, so if I FOIL that out, it should work. And now I can use the zero product property, and that tells me that x is equal to 4 or negative 3. All right. All right, so those are the x values. All right, I want the x and y coordinates, so I need to take those x values and find the corresponding y values. So for, let's do x equals 4, then I can put it into either one of these equations, but it's easier to work with the second one. So then y is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. And if x is equal to negative 3, then y is equal to negative 3 minus 1, which is a negative 4. All right. So my final answer then is, I'm going to get two coordinate pairs, right? So my answers are 4, 3 and negative 3, negative 4. All right. Those are the points. Those are the points where this line intersects the circle. Okay, and that kind of makes sense, I think, from, well, I didn't necessarily draw this to scale, but it should make sense. And you should be able to put those values back in and, you know, into the either one of these equations, right? So if I put in negative 3, negative 4, right, I'll get 9 plus 16 is 25, right? And if I put in 3, 4, you know, or 4, 3, I guess in this case, 4, 3, I get also 16 plus 9 is 25. So those are the points where that line intersects the circle. All right. Well, there's a couple of practice problems for you. And that's all the skill refresher I have for this chapter. And I'll see you in class.